Today's guest is Joseph Luciano. He is 8-1 in mixed martial arts as a pro and is the Eternal MMA welterweight champion. Now, Eternal MMA is one of, if not the most professional, most premier, most prolific MMA promotions in Australia, and he's the welterweight champion. The man that held the belt before him, of course, Jack Della, who is now a ranked UFC fighter, also out of Australia. I believe he defended the belt around 4 to 5 times in Eternal MMA. Joey Luciano is taking on the very scary Matt Vaile, who hopefully we'll catch up with and have a chat to about this very bout. That bout is going down on Eternal MMA 78 in Sydney, September 8th at Liberty Hall. I believe you can still get tickets. If not, it'll be on UFC Fight Pass. Now, we chat to Joey Luciano about some good stuff, man. He's a very, very funny guy. I know him relatively well, so we chat a little bit of shit. But there's also some sort of deep emotional moments where you get to kind of find out a little bit more behind the fighter and what's really there. And he masks it with a bit of humor, like myself. But it's a good chat. You get to learn a little bit about him. He trains with Jack Jenkins, who fights in the UFC. We chat a little bit about him. Simon Carstens, who's a head coach. Lisa Kiriakou, who is fighting at 1FC. We chat a little bit about that. Also, his other teammate, Khan Offley. He's the Hex featherweight champion. He's defending his belt. Look, it's an absolute pump and gym. And he is, if anything, probably the star pupil or the guy that's next in line to make it to the big show. But first he has to get through the one and only Matt Vaile. So without further ado, guys, I hope you enjoy this. Like I said, if you're listening on the podcast, check out the YouTube or hit up Instagram, Australian MMA _ or vice versa. If you're watching it on YouTube and you're just watching the clips and you want to check the full podcast out, download it on Spotify or wherever you get yours. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Eternal MMA welterweight champion, Joseph Luciano. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Joey Luciano, who's the Eternal welterweight champion, who, by my accounts, is fighting Olden Bates.
Yeah, that's happening, isn't it?
Look, it's something I called about a week ago. Look, Eternal said it, man. They said it in the cage. They said, "Hey, Olden Bates, after he beat Stu Dare, he said, they said you're going to take on Luciano," and then he called out Andrew Mills. Were you aware of that?
I was all very confused. I was confused by the whole situation. I think a lot of the parties were, but yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. But hey, who cares? I got a match now, so I'm happy, pretty content. Yeah, maybe communication is key in life, I suppose, and if all parties need to be notified and whatever, that always helps. But hey, just got to run with it, right?
Did they float him at all? Was that ever an option, Olden Bates?
Yeah, there's always been. I was under the impression that the winner of that would get the crack. That was probably an assumption of mine. But whatever. Shit happens. Here we are. Fighters fight, bro.
Yeah, I mean, and they do. I mean, you got Matt Vaile, who everyone has been high on for many years, but he's only fought twice in about 5 years. What are your thoughts on taking on Matt Vaile?
Pretty cool. I've been paying attention to the pro rankings for a long time when I was an amateur, and Matt's always been pretty high up in there. So it's a great, it's a great grab, and he's got a good record, and it's a great scalp. And I believe I'm pretty undeniable now, and I think once I claim that scalp, there is a complete undeniability. So that's always good, man. Bit of clarity for everyone, and
But it's like, what do you do? Like, have you? I don't know. I hate talking about that next level, but like when it comes to like the UFC and stuff, are they like, hey, one more, or like, is there any sort of inkling on just how close you might be?
I don't even know what the UFC is, man. The US what? Look, it's so convoluted. Like I saw Blood Diamond is signed for this card in Sydney. He's fighting a 7-3 guy. I'm 8-1 with finishes. It's like, how did that guy get a crack? So, I don't even know the dude. He might be fucking excellent. But going off records, local competition, they wouldn't have to pay that much to fly me up to Sydney. But yeah. What the fuck do you do, man? I haven't got a crystal ball and just keep plodding along and keep winning and putting on good performances and manicuring my eyebrows and staying handsome, and hopefully I get the call up.
So you don't get any sort of, there's no like management going, oh, we've chatted to them. Is there just no communication as of yet?
Oh, look, you're really trying to fish some stuff out of me, Mitch. And, just before you pressed record, which was a little preemptive, you were like, hey, man, let's keep this really cookie cutter and boring because I know you're like a bit of a square dude and I'm not going to push you for any answers. And then you've come out with trying to make me put something on Eternal without dates, and now you're trying to make me say something about my management. So, fuck you, man.
You know that you could have just said, nah. Or, yeah.
No. There's nothing. No communication. No one gives a fuck.
But it is like, I mean, obviously, like you and Eternal and your welterweight sort of status is, I mean, undeniable. Everyone thinks you are next in line. So, but when they throw you up a Matt Vaile, obviously all of that goes out the window. All your attention goes on a Matt Vaile. Not looking past him though, are there any sort of contenders that you go, man, I'm keeping an eye on him?
No, there's no one else really. I think welterweight is in a really funny spot at the moment where there's these upper echelon guys in the top 5 that are all probably around that 28 to 34. And that's like, let's call them Gen 2, and I'm part of that Gen 2. And those guys are all sort of big records towards the mid to end of their careers maybe and don't want to fight. And then there's like a heap of 3-0 guys that are coming up. So there's a big gap. I don't want to have to wait for those young guys or the 3-0 guys to come up and be ready to contend. Like that's probably 2-3 years away if they keep fighting regularly. So it's like once I've done the Matt Vaile thing and finished him, come on, give me a shot somewhere on something. Yeah, basically that's where I'm at mentally.
Now, if hypothetically you don't, do you entertain boxing like Muay Thai, you that type of a fighter, or do you want to keep it strictly MMA?
You did watch my last fight, right? I don't think the boxing or Muay Thai would be great for me. I'd purely do jiu-jitsu in there. Maybe some gi. I'll do some gi jiu-jitsu comps. Look, obviously being the champ on Eternal, I've got an exclusive deal with them. Hopefully, this is the stepping stone that I need to get in. If not, I'll just keep doing the thing and, fighters fight, bro. Whoa.
Can you not fight like Muay Thai either? Like there's no combat.
I'm not too sure. I reckon like the Eternal guys would be pretty good about it if I didn't have a study shop for 6 months or whatever and said to them, hey, I want to stay active. Can I go and beat up a Thai taxi driver for like $200 and feel really good about myself? Because, that's kind of cool.
Well, is that what you're doing now? Because you are in Thailand.
No, I'm just getting heaps of massages and hanging out with ladyboys.
Yeah, and how's that helping you with the fight camp?
It's giving me a real sense of resilience and mental fortitude.
Have you been finishing early there too?
Yes, I always finish early. I put in a lot of groundwork, but I always finish early. The premature finisher. What a nickname. I wish I had got that myself. Sorry, Aiden. Yeah, thanks, bro. I'm out here prepping, and the reason I come out here is to get away from my wife and all the people at home because no one loves me. But yeah, I've just been out here soaking up some sun and riding around on a scooter with no helmet on really fast and training a heap of Muay Thai. And yeah, just doing that, man. Like I've been doing this for so long that a change of scenery is nice, and eating some too hot Thai food and sweating all the time's pretty fun.
Yeah, it's part of the weight cut. You just
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Where do you rank your striking compared to your grappling if you're going, let's say, out of 10?
So let's say, I reckon it's funny. Like as with MMA, it's hard to train everything at once, and keep everything improving. For me, I periodize, so I'll like keep the grappling on a slow burn and work the striking, and then I'll keep the striking on a slow burn and work the grappling. So for me at the moment, obviously I've come from a bit of a striking block. Um, I think they constantly leapfrog each other. Sometimes I'll be a better striker than I'm a grappler, and sometimes a better grappler than I'm a striker. And yeah, that's just part of evolving and getting better at this crazy thing we do.
Well, the generic ask MMA fighter question, but like, how much of your peak have we seen?
Let's say 25%.
Yeah, there's 75% more to go.
Yeah, dude.
Jeez. Do you kind of want to come out and like just get the victories, or is there a bit of you that goes, no, I want to knock him out standing, or I want to showcase that?
Yeah, like I said, I don't know who interviewed me. It was probably someone better looking and funnier than you. In the lead up to the last fight, and they said, how do you see this finishing? And I said, I'm going to spinning elbow him or spinning back kick him. And they thought I was taking the piss. And unfortunately, during the broadcast of that Caleb fight towards the end of one of the rounds, I actually nailed him with a spinning back elbow. I hit him with my huge tricep instead of the elbow, so it didn't do as much damage. But I got some weapons that, I haven't put on display yet. And, that's all part of my card game that I'm playing and not revealing my full hand at the moment. So, I've been doing this for a long time and I'm constantly evolving, and there's new shit coming out. I'm watching the YouTube every day, seeing what the young guys are doing, and the 8-year-olds and 5-year-olds, and I'm practicing that stuff. So yeah, there's more facets to this than big eyebrows and wrestling for sure.
Now, you talk about training in Thailand, yet you've taken most of your absolute MMA guys with you to Thailand as the new guys that you're training with?
No. I just basically brought all the guys out that I normally train with, because team no new friends, right? Which is hilarious. 2 of the boys left today, and I got another one coming tonight to fill the gap. I suppose I just can't be left alone to my own devices, really. And Simon was out here as well for a few days, and Lisa. So I'm not sure who was running the classes back home, because within 24 hours we had me, Simon, Lisa, Sam, Samad, and Dylan are all going to be in Phuket, Bangkok. So it's like, yeah, I think I don't know if we'll be able to do that again. I might cop a bit of a hiding from Dan when we get back, but it happened. Still got another couple of weeks, so yeah.
And your teammate Lisa Kiriaki, obviously fighting in ONE FC. What is your sort of experience with that? Because you fought there earlier in your career, didn't you?
Yeah, so my first 2 fights were in there. My first 2 pro fights, were in their developmental thing called One Warrior, which is sort of like, you could relate it to Dana White's Contender Series type thing. And one super professional, I was a little bit surprised how it was over in Singapore, how they treated me and all of that was pretty good. I assume Lisa had the same experience. It's a little bit tricky and different with the weigh-in protocols and fighting in the ring and all of that. So I think she's going to handle it well. And, she's fought in Bangkok before, and she's fought for a title on Hex back home. So, she's experienced, and she's had close to 17 fights. So she's got a good opponent in front of her, and hopefully she just does her thing, And
your other teammate, UFC fighter, Jack Jenkins, I want to ask you this. Are you guys honest with fights? Because some people might have thought that fight went either way, right? Let's say hypothetically you thought Jack lost. Do you guys ever talk about that? Like, do you ever, if a split decision goes your teammate way, do you ever go, hey man, I actually thought you lost? Or are you just like, victory is a victory?
I am completely biased with the love for the boys, but I am a realist 100%. Like, you know, if one of the guys got a lucky decision, I'd be like, hey man, you fucking lucked out in that and you actually lost. So let's figure out what we did wrong and, you know, run off into the sunset with a smile on our face, because luck and, you know, a bit of good fortune goes a long way in this sport, and it's not always fair. So take them when you can get them, because, you know, I've been on the bad side end of a decision. Well, not really, but, you know, like it happens, right? Now, with that Jack fight, I do not think that was close, and I 100% from an impartial standpoint think Jack won, and I've got a set of notes written down to clarify that, but you're just trying to hit Sammy Mitchell, and I don't appreciate it. But honestly, like, as I said, 100% biased with my love for the guys, but a realist with how the fights go.
That wasn't shit stirring. This is. Do you think Jack Della won his fight?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
100%. Now, maybe I got a thing for Jacks, you know, Combat Jack, Bar Jack, Jack Della. It sounds like I'm a bit of a Jack fan, but I've watched the Della fight twice. We were out here in Thailand with Samad and Sammy, and we watched it twice, and I 100% think Jack won for sure.
And it just damage, or what was your thoughts on that?
100% damage, man. You know, he made some small errors in that fight. You know, going to the guillotine probably a little bit too often. But, you know, I thought he was absolutely piecing the dude on the feet. It was a good fight, don't get me wrong. But, yeah, in my eyes, Della won, and I am a biased Australian. So, you know.
Now, Jack Della has 5 eternal welterweight defenses. Let me stir the pot further. You and Jack Della, how's it go down?
I think, again, I will kick KO him. I reckon that would be a fucking brilliant fight. That's a clash of styles. I'm sure he can wrestle his ass off. I've heard he can. So I bet you his wrestling's a little underrated, and I bet you my striking's a little bit underrated. You know, 2 modern day MMA fighters that can do it all with specialties leaning each way. You know, of course I'm going to fucking back myself 100%. I wouldn't be the fighter I am without saying that. Yeah, of course. That's a fun little thought experiment. But yeah, I wish him all the success, and I love watching him fight. He's fantastic. And yeah, you know, he's got an Italian last name too, so he's, you know, fucking Wog.
So can I just get you saying I would smash Jack Della for the quote?
I didn't say smashed, but in the Wog off, I'm backing myself for sure.
And mate, back to your fight against Matt Vaile. Is there anything of his that has concerned you in fight camp?
I would never say anything concerns me about anyone I fight, but I'm very respectful of people's weapons, and I'm very aware of what they bring to the table. And Matt is a very well-rounded MMA fighter. You know, I've had my eye on him for a number of years, so it's not like, oh, Matt's just come out of nowhere and I'm like concerned about his stuff. I'm respectful of his weapons for sure. You know, he's been in that top echelon for a long time, and that's through no accident.
Where do you put Kevin Doucet in all of that?
Wow. I think Kevin's fantastic as well. You know, like at that elite level, in that top 3, it's like you know, you're playing such a fine game, and everyone's so good. It's like, you know, in that top 10 in the UFC, probably anyone in that 10 on their given night could be a champion. And I often, think this shit comes down to luck. If everyone prepares the same and everyone's a really good athlete and everyone's coached really well, bit of luck, man, bit of heart and luck. So, that's always the case with this shit. The best guy doesn't always win on the night. Sometimes the shit-ass ugly brawler wins on the night. Sometimes the grappler does. Sometimes the clean striker does. So, yeah, I'll give you a wishy-washy answer for that.
No, it's good. And I actually wanted to ask you about the guy that still technically ranked number one on the Tapology, your boy, JJ Ambrose, who just retired. First of all, how did that relationship, friendship come about, and how important do you think he was to Australian mixed martial arts despite being American?
Well, he's a yank cunt, so it's hilarious that he even gets like a looking out here. Yeah, look, I've known JJ, I reckon, for over 10 years at least. When he first started coming out and fighting on Hex, Nick Patterson was a big name, and Trent from Hex sort of hooked that all up, and JJ would come out and train at our gym fight week, and he had a really good relationship with my coach, Ed Bavlock. And yeah, so I'd just seen JJ for a long time, and he's a couple of years older than me, so he would always see me in the gym and would train and stuff like that. And then we've stayed in touch. He's been bringing guys out from Guam for years to fight on Hex. And, I helped my coach corner him each time he was out here, and then Ed had moved overseas and shut the gym down, and JJ was still coming out, and I was, I suppose, the closest thing to my coach that he could get. So I'd corner him, and yeah, that's just how the relationship sort of brewed. And then he came out to Absolute for, I think, 4 weeks before he last fought John Vake, or John Vake, as JJ tried to call him. And yeah, we trained for 4 weeks with the boys, and he was great to have in the room. And he's a wealth of knowledge. He's been doing it for a fucking long time, and he's been around the traps. He's done the Thailand thing. He's done the AKA thing. So yeah, it was fantastic to have him around. What a dog, taking the number one spot and then retiring. Bit of a rat, but he's on to bigger and better things now, and I think the relationship between him and I will maintain, and hopefully, he keeps bringing guys out from Guam, or we can meet over in Thailand. And yeah, he's a good dude. He's a really good dude.
Why do you think he didn't ultimately get that shine in the UFC? I mean, he got close. I believe he fought in Bellator, but why do you think he didn't get that ultimate chance?
He was also on the Ultimate Fighter as well. On one of them, I don't know which one it was. I think he lost a playoff fight or something to actually secure his spot in the house. He fought on Bellator a few times. I don't know, man. As I said, there's probably 50,000 Russians that are all UFC worthy, but will never get the shot. There's only so many spots in the UFC, and timing, geographical location, Instagram followers, how good looking your fight style is, how good looking you are. It's wild that he never did get the crack, to be honest.
And do you think, this is a weird question to ask, but do you think it would be weird looking at where your career is, that if in 30 fights, how hard it would be to walk away without ultimately getting that shot in the UFC?
Mentally, for me, I am in the present. I believe after 30 fights, 30 more fights, your priorities will shift, and you'll have a business, and you'll have a wife and kids and responsibilities, and you're actually a functioning member of society, as opposed to being a piece of shit that, eats really crappy food and just to get by, and is solely focused on themselves and fighting. So I believe JJ walked away perhaps feeling that it would have been nice to get the shot, but he's completely shifted what his priorities in life are, and he's got a different mission, and it's really interesting. JJ and I had quite a deep discussion about the pitfalls of winning and how winning makes winners feel. And I've discussed this with the guys I coach, but it was really refreshing to hear, a guy coming from a different place saying a very similar thing. And that was, you've got this monumental task ahead of you, which is the fight and the victory. And you do all this groundwork and then you win and you feel a complete sense of emptiness. Whereas if you do all that stuff and you lose, you have a goal again. I've lost, so I need to jump back in the gym and fix that armbar escape I didn't nail. Whereas often when you win, it's like a shot of heroin, right? And then it's gone. So you've got to chase that shot of heroin again. Now, if you've done heroin 45 times, does that get old? Because for me, it's not old right now. And I've had close to 50 fights across combat sport now, amateur and pro. So, yeah, it was a pretty introspective moment hearing it from someone else. And I think he's in a really good place, but, fucking American.
Yeah. Also, how much heroin have you done? We don't know.
More than most.
Yep, exactly. Now, before I get your final predictions for the fight, as every MMA podcast must do, I want to talk about the amount that you corner your teammates and the up-and-comers. And, I mean, even when I was in Melbourne and Hex, you were cornering all the guys at Demolition the next day, which is a predominantly amateur show. All jokes aside that you're about to give me, what is it about coaching up-and-comers that really brings the best out of you?
I have a severe mental disorder where I cannot sit still. It's not about them at all. It's completely about my self-indulgent nature and fueling that because I can't sleep and I have too much energy. Now, that's actually a fact, but I'll give you a real answer as well. Now, I was a 16-year-old kid who didn't have a dad, had a positive male figure in my life, two, who were extremely hard workers, very self-sacrificing, and put others before themselves to reap the benefits of other people's success in a positive way. And that was my coach and my stepdad. So I suppose that has been ingrained in me from a very young adolescent period. And I want people to succeed around me because that means I'm succeeding as well. And I fucking love seeing people get punched in the head.
And does that mean you're going to probably go into coaching after fighting, or are you just going to do them concurrently?
I think I would say, am I a coach now? I would say I'm more like a leading member of the team. I've had to, by virtue of not having training partners in the early days, I had to train a couple of the boys up. I'm not a coach in the sense of like Simon is. I'm still way too selfish for that because I'm focused on my own goals, and that does take precedence over the other boys for now. Once I'm done, I'm getting grumpier as each year passes, so maybe the new soy boy generation might not gravitate towards my coaching style. Maybe they will. I might get some diamonds in the rough. I believe I'll be involved in martial arts for the rest of my life, for better or worse.
Fair enough. See, I mean, you're all jokes and insults, but deep down, bloody sweet guy.
Yes.
No, mate, before I let you go, give me the old prediction for you, Matt Vaile, Eternal Welterweight Championship, Eternal 78, Liberty Hall, Sydney, September 8th. How's it going
What a
now?
weekend. What a weekend of fights. I believe I will steal the show with a very unconventional KO that people will be surprised and they'll go, wow, I didn't know that cunt could do shit like that. And I'll go, fucking oath I can.
Will we
You want-
get, I was going to say, will we get a post-fight interview the way we had it last time?
I don't think you can get one not like that out of me.
So
I'm hopped up on adrenaline and I will spit some shit out of my mouth.
for everyone at home, it was don't be a dumb cunt and stay off the gear.
Correct, mate. I believe that's a pretty good motto to live by.
Cheers. All right, mate. Well, look, thank you for taking the time. I know I said 5-10 minutes, but you actually had some weird, deep emotional moments there, and it was great.
Yeah, that was, you know, I feel I've bared all, and I'm very sad and emotional about that. Thank you, Mitchell.
Do you like that I get it out of you, whether you like it or not?
You're the second best podcast I've had this week.
Who is better? There's no one better. Or is it the one that Jack Jenkins and Simon Carson do 3 times a year?
Yeah, correct, motherfucker.
Anyway, mate, enjoy it all. Enjoy the terrorist holding cell that you seem to be in right now. I hope you enjoy and you get back to your family one day when they pay the ransom.
I don't think they want me back, and I appreciate your time, Mitch.
Take it easy, brother. I'll see you in Sydney.
Catch you, man.